Hi, John Hess from FilmmakerIQ.com. In this Just One Thing, I want to show you how to fix simple perspective issues in your shot.
And right there you saw an example of a fixed perspective shot. But what do I mean when I say fixed perspective issues?
So as you can see behind me, we have a building. We're shooting from pretty close and up. So we're getting that perspective shift of the building kind of falling back and away from the camera.
Now, John, do you need to worry about those perspective issues? Is that something that's going to completely destroy your video?
Now, this is not one of those things that's going to completely destroy your video, but it is something we can fix relatively easy.
All right, enough of this tomfoolery. Let's talk about how to control our perspective. Now, in the analog world, before we had magic box computers that could fix everything for us, we had to do this with tilt-shift lenses. Now, you're familiar with probably the miniature effect. We've seen it in movies and TV shows. But tilt-shift lenses have also another very important creative purpose, and that's to control perspective. But that really is a topic for another time, another video. Here we're going to do this in post-production. I'm going to use Adobe Premiere Pro, but I'm sure a lot of other editing software out there has the same or very similar techniques. In Premiere Pro, we're going to use an effect called corner pin. I typed in corner into my effects panel. I'm going to drag that plugin over my footage here. And then I need to click on the actual effect, and we will see right away that there's little bullseyes on all the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and open and make my program window full screen here, and I've got a lovely little stupid look on my face. That's wonderful. I'll change our view to about 75% so we can see what we're doing. And then we're going to just take those bullseyes, we're going to click on them, and we're going to drag them to try to correct this perspective issue here. So I'm just pulling it back to get that to line up here. That looks about right. And then see how everything's kind of slanted to the left there? So we're going to counter that by grabbing the other side and kind of massaging it back, playing this little tug of war between the two points, and try to get the vertical lines at least to look more vertical and less slanted. That looks pretty decent there, but the problem I have here is my face now is really squashed flat. Now I may be a little bit of an egotist, but I think I don't want my face looking that flat, squash. I don't want my face squashed that flat. So what we're going to do is take our bullseyes and just kind of drag it up a little bit. So we're going to compensate and bring it right about there. That looks pretty good. Now what you want to do, we want to kind of play a little bit, make sure that we're not doing anything that's going to reveal itself as too unbelievably weird looking. And I think that looks pretty good. So we've corrected the perspective, kind of maintained the shape of the human face there, somewhat human face. And to me, that looks just way, way better going between the two of them.
So here's the shot before, and here we are after.
Now with this and all the tricks we use to manipulate the image, to change proportions of the image, there's a fine line between what looks right and then what looks wrong, and you just went way too far. And finding that fine line really, I think, comes from a matter of experience and time. When people first start off, I think they have a tendency to tunnel vision and focus on one particular thing without realizing its context inside the rest of the image. So you may focus right on that line of the building and not concern yourself with the way the faces are shaped. Instead, what you got to do is you need to basically balance everything. Everything in filmmaking essentially is balancing. So yes, we want those lines to be close to vertical. They don't have to be exactly vertical as long as everything else in the scene kind of also works. In this case, when I was shooting this from below. I did have that perspective issue on my face as well, so when we corrected everything, it kind of works out better. And for as much as we talk about how the human brain makes calculations on the human face based on proportions and does on math, determine what is beautiful, the fact of the matter is the human brain is incredibly malleable, especially when it comes to faces. We see faces everywhere. So if your face, when you're doing this technique, is a little bit off perspective-wise, it's not that bad as long as you feel like it's not that bad, okay? Again, when I show these techniques, I'm not prescribing you anything. I'm saying, here's what you can do when you see the situation come up. That's all I have for this Just One Thing, and that's time for me to do the regular YouTube spiel. Like, subscribe, click the bell, do whatever YouTube wants you to do. Thank you to our patrons on Patreon. You guys are awesome. If you need a Filmmaker IQ t-shirt, check out the merch shelf below. Help support this channel. In fact, I need to put on my Filmmaker IQ shirt. I'm wearing my business shirt right now. I'm doing a lot of business work. So that's all that's left for me to say now is to go out there and maybe correct your perspective, make something great. I'm John Hess. I will see you at filmmakeriq.com.